Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this long skirt here. As you can see, we have half of the skirt is solid to have a good nice coverage, and then I did a meshy part for the remaining of it, and it's quite long. It's about 35 inches long. So this is something that you will probably wear in the fall time when it's not too hot. And yeah, but it's still, you still get like a nice open bottom here to give you a nice breeze. And you have the section that is solid stitch here that will give you really nice coverage as well. Okay, so this is what we're working on today. If you're interested to see how I'm making this one, stay on the video. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and get all the materials I need and show you guys what I'm using, and then we go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so before we get this project started, I'm going to show you all the materials that I'm using for it. So I have these two colors here that we're going to be using. We're going to be alternating these two colors. I think they're extremely beautiful to go together, and it is pretty much gray and black. So as you can see here, this color is gray, and of course this one here is black. Just to talk about the yarn a little bit, this is Cozy Wool Merino by Loops and Threads, and it's a lightweight number 3. Recommended hook size is 4mm crochet hook or US G6. It is a mixture of 55% superwash merino and 45% anti-peeling acrylic. And you have all of your measurements. Where are these measurements? Right here. So just so you know how much yarn you're getting. And I'll be pretty much using all of this because we're making quite a long skirt. I'm gonna make sure I use all of these, so we're stopping where we where the yarn ends. Hopefully it's gonna be as long as I want it to be. Okay, so this is pretty much it. The information on this is exactly the same, except it's a different color. For a crochet hook size, I will be using G6 US or 4.25mm crochet hook. And it's just a preference of mine for me to use something that is a little bit bigger than the recommended, which is a 4mm crochet hook. You're going to need a tape measure, and this is mostly going to be to determine the size. I'm going to be making a small, usually between small and a medium. So I will be showing you how I get my measurements and how you can get your measurements. And of course, we're going to need a scissors to be able to cut our strands. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so we're gonna go ahead and get started here. I think you can see this black pretty well when it compares to my tablecloth here that I have on my work table. I think it's fine. If you have any issues being able to see this, please let me know in the comments below. But we're going to start by doing the band of the skirt, and we're going to do a foundation chain of 17. So I'm just going to start by doing a slip knot. And just so quickly here, before I actually make that mistake, I'm going to leave a string that is long enough for me to be able to join my two sides of the band together to do the skirt. And as you can see here, I'm just going to leave not too long, something like this is enough. And we're going to do the slip knot right in here. Okay, so I'm going to do my slip knot just like that. Okay, if you have, like I said, if you're having any difficulty seeing, please let me know. Now that I have my slip knot, I'm going to start my chain of 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that is my chain of 17, and this is going to be to create a band. So this band of the skirt is going to be quite wide. It's going to be really wide. Okay, so if you would like to do a band that is a little bit smaller, you can cut this down all the way to 10, 11, 12, however wide you want it to be. I have done a skirt where I did a chain of 13 and then worked with 12 stitches after skipping the last final chain. So that is up to you, but this is going to create a little bit of a wider band of the skirt. Okay, now that we have our foundation chain, we're going to skip the 17th stitch right here. In the 16th one, we're going to go in the back of it and do a single crochet, just like this. And then we're going to go into the next and do a single crochet, and keep in mind we're just picking the back of the foundation chain, so we're not working into the front stitch or the back stitch. We're just picking the middle part of this chain. So as you can see, the chain looks like this, And when you flip it to the other side, we're picking these lumps that you see right here. That's what we're kind of picking to do our single crochet. So go ahead and do this to the end of the chain, and by the time you get to the end of the chain, you should have 16 stitches because we skipped our 17th stitch. Okay, see you guys at the end of this row. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my first row here for the band, and as you can see, it's about, if I do measure the length of the band here, if I just put it down without stretching it, it's about 3.5 inches. Okay, so 3.5 inches for your band. Some people may want to do just 2 or just 3, but again, this is a preference of mine where I do a wider band just to make it a little bit different, because I have done skirts or like bikini cover bottoms that are usually smaller band. This is just to kind of make it a little bit different than the usual ones that I usually do. All right, now that I have that, I'm going to start my second row, which is going to be a repeat row for this part of the project. And I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to start working in the back. So in the back of the very first chain, right after your chain 1, you're going to do a single crochet there, and then you're going to go in the back of the second and do a single crochet, and in the third and do a single crochet, and so on and so forth. So again, at this point, you're working with 16 stitches, and you should have 16 by the time you get to the end. And as for those of you who are my devoted, lovely followers here, subscribers, you know that when I do this, I do end up going to do both loops at the end instead of just the back loop to do my final single crochet. If you're new, you don't have to follow this, or if you're also like just somebody who follows my tutorials, you probably know that I have always said you don't have to do this. You can do the final stitch by going through the back loop only as well. It's just that my preference is to go through both loops for the final one to make it more solid. Okay, so I'm coming to the end here. So usually I would have gone right here to do my final single crochet in the back of the loop, but in the back of that stitch, but I'm going to go through both and do my final single crochet that way. Okay, so this is how my second row should look like, or this is how my second row looks like, and this is how yours should look like as well. And we're going to start our third row, and then you just turn, so chain 1 and turn, and then just repeat exactly what we just did in the second row. And you're going to do this until you create what the length of the band that you're looking for. And you may ask, how do you know how long to do it? What you do is you measure the widest part of your hips. Okay, so the widest part of your hip, you measure that. So you take your tape measure. I usually work in inches, so you could use in whatever measurement units you want, but I usually use the inches section, and I measure the widest part of my hips. Okay, the widest part of my hips take me to about 38 to 40. So let's say 38, because I often end up using the 38 instead of 40. Let's say 38 inches is the widest part of my hips, and by widest I mean like the circumference of it, like this being it. It looks so wide in the in the camera here, but I guarantee you that is not the actual size. It's just it's not how big it actually looks. It's just because the lens makes it look like it's really big, because it's really close, like the camera is really close right here. All right, so now that you have established the widest measurement of your hip, you do the number of rows to a point where if you stretch it really wide, because this pattern here stretches quite a lot, if you stretch it as much as you can, you should be able to get to the number of measurements of the widest part of your hip. So what I will do is I will do about just based on memory, I will do about 107 rows of this. And I know that when I stretch that number, or this, when I stretch it fully, it's gonna get me to this number. Sometimes if it takes me to 40, it's okay. So I usually make sure I have about 2 inches that I work with extra. but I'm going to aim to get a measurement of about 38 inches when I stretch my band completely, bend, like stretch. And when you do that, then you will know what size you're looking for. So that's an example of the widest, my widest part of the hip versus how I end up getting the number of rows that I'm going to do here. Okay, so I'm going to do, like I said, 107 rows or so, 107, 108, and I will come back because I know that is going to get me my 38 inches, and I'll come back and show you guys how that looks like. So you go ahead and do the same. When you have that measurement completed, come back and we will go ahead and move on to the next part of the project. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the band of the skirt here, and as you can see, this is how it looks. It's pretty long. When I really stretch this material, it does come up to 38 inches, and I did about 107 rows. So this is for my size here. So of course, if you're making it for yourself, it will be a different sizing, okay? Now, if we folded this obviously like this, which is what we're gonna do, this is pretty much the size of it here. And of course, like I said, it stretches quite a lot as well. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next step, and that's gonna be to join this side and this side together. And to do so, I have my darning needle here, and I have the long tail that I left when I started the project. And I'm just gonna use that string there to be able to join these two sides together. It doesn't matter how you do this. You can either join it the other way or this way. It's all the same. I'm just gonna zoom in here so we can see properly. And to go ahead and join these two sides, for those of you who are not familiar, I will show you guys a couple of stitches here, and then you can finish it off on your own. But those who have followed my tutorials, you will know how to do the joining here. So I'm just gonna take the darning needle and put in the first stitch on this side, and then I'm gonna grab the stitch on the other opposite side as well, and then I'm gonna pull, and that's gonna join these two sides together. I'm going to do that one more time in the exact same stitch just to give it a little bit more strength. And then for the next stitch, I'm going to grab the stitch closest to me, or the loop closest to me. And then I'm going to grab the loop that is on the inside of the other side. Just like that. And then I'm going to move on to the next stitch, and I'm going to repeat that again, grabbing the outside loop on this side and the inside loop of the other side. And then pulling, I'm going to grab the outside loop on this side and inside loop on the other side and pull, and I'm going to do this all the way until I get here. And you should have a matching number of stitches, so you shouldn't run short on one or the other side. It should be exactly the same number of stitches that you're using here. So go ahead and do that, and when you get to the end here, come back and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I have reached the end here. So for this final loop or stitch here, I'm just gonna go through both loops, and that's gonna make it so that it's secure at the end here as well. So I'm just gonna go through both loops like that and pull. And I'm gonna do that one more time, just like we did at the beginning. And just like that, okay? Now that this is done, I am going to remove the darning needle and just leave this hanging here in case we need to make a correction. I'm going to leave that hanging there. So as you can see now, we have pretty much a complete round band. And now it's just a matter of working around here. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. And then it's going to be something that we work on the next rows, the next couple of rows that is repeated. And then we're going to change it when we need to start to do the lacy part of the skirt, okay? So for now, we're going to just take our crochet hook here, and I'm going to do a chain of one. Actually, we're not going to do a chain of one yet. We're just going to flip to this side like this, and we're going to do a quick slip stitch on top of this here, just like that. Then we're going to do a chain of two, and we're going to turn back this way. And then we're going to do a double crochet on each of these sections here. So that is one double crochet there, and we're going to put one in the valley section. So for those of you who follow me, you know how I work with this type of project. I just work in the valley, I do a stitch, and then I go in the place that has that protrudes, which are called the heels, and you do a stitch, and then you go into the valley and you do a stitch, and you continue to do this all around until you come back to the beginning here. So go ahead and do that, and now the indication that you have reached the beginning will always be the string that we left hanging. So we're going to do your final double crochet stitch here before we slip stitch to this end and repeat. And I'm going to do this for a couple of rows, and then we're going to change color. So we're going to be changing to this color at some point. But for now, just work your double crochet stitches until you get back to the end here. When you get here, come back, and I will show you how to connect and then how to continue to do the second row and then third and so on and so forth. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have reached the beginning here. So as you can see, I have my string here, and I just did a row of the double crochet stitch going around. And so now that I have done my final one here, I'm just going to slip stitch on top of these here so that we can join the two sides like that. Okay, and this chain two that we did at the beginning counts as a double crochet. So we're gonna do chain two again. So 1, 2, and turn. And then we're going to be working this way, and we're just going to do a double crochet on top of the previous double crochet, and we're going to do this all around until we come back to this beginning. When you get to this beginning and you do your final double crochet here, right here, you're going, because this hole here is for this here, as you can see. So you're going to do your final double crochet here, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain two that we did, so the top chain that we did, and then you're going to do 2 chains again and turn and continue to repeat this. So this is going to be a repeat for a little bit. I'm going to do it until it covers the bottom properly. So by bottom I mean like your buttocks covered properly, and then we're going to do the lace. But in the meanwhile as well, I'm going to be changing and alternating this color with this color. So I'm going to do about 3 inches of the black color, so 3 inches worth of the rose, and then I'm going to change the color and then do 3 inches worth of this color, then change back to black, and wherever that takes me, when I have the length that I'm looking for before we start the lace, then I'm going to come back to show you guys how to do the lace part of this project. Okay, but for now, just build up the double crochet stitches until you have the length that you're looking for each. And if you're changing color, change color however you want. You can change color now and get started with a new color, or you can change it just like I'm doing it. But yeah, so go ahead and continue to do that. When you have the length of the skirt that's going to cover your private properly, then come back and we're going to start the lacy part together. Okay, see you guys then. Right, my lovelies, so as you can see here, I have completed the number of rows I require for the skirt, the solid part of the skirt. So that is pretty much how it looks like here. So this is it. I pretty much did 8 rows of each of these blocks. So right after my band here, I did 8 rows in the black, and then I did 8 rows in this gray color, black, and then the gray color again. So that is it for now. This is enough to cover me appropriately before I start the lacy part of the skirt. So as you can see here, I just finished working on this section. So what I will do here is I will switch to the black so we can start working with the black color, and we're going to be starting the lace with that. And then we're going to be changing the colors as well, however we did it with the solid part. Okay, so for this part here, I just undid it so I can actually do the color change. So I will just go into the top of this stitch and do my slip stitch like I would as usual. So it's not literally a slip stitch, I just stop here, and I'll bring in my scissors and I'll cut my yarn somewhere here, just snip that off. And then we're going to put in the black now. And then we're going to be working with the black one until we have the number of inches we have here, or however you do it. And I may actually even change that, but we're just gonna do however many rows you need to do in each color. Then you will change the yarn back into the other color, or if you're doing one solid color for everything, then you literally just continue to do the lacy part with the same color continuously until you have the length. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to connect and how to start the lacy part, and then when that's done, I'm gonna have you guys working on the project until you get to the end. Okay, so for here I already have cut the yarn, so I'm going to bring the black color back and I connect it here. So just pull it through the 2 loops, then I'm going to chain 1 for now, then I'm going to pull each of these colors to kind of make it tight here. So I've already chained 1. I'm going to chain 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that makes it 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5. Then we're going to turn, and we're going to have the 2 tails that are hanging go on the inside of the work. So they will be on the inside part. And now that I have my chain 5, I'm going to skip this stitch right here, and in the next stitch I'm going to do a treble crochet. Okay, so that's my treble crochet there. So I'll repeat it again for those of you who are not familiar with it. And I'm going to do a chain of 1, and then yarn over again, and then skip this stitch in this next stitch, do your treble crochet, and then chain 1, and then do a treble crochet, and then chain 1, and then treble crochet, and you remember to skip a stitch in between. So this is how the lace is going to look so far here. Okay, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, do a treble crochet after that, and you're just going to continue this until you come back to the beginning of the work here. So go ahead and continue to do this. When you come back to the end here, come back to the video, and I will show you how to connect to this side and how to continue, and that's going to be a repeat row for the remaining of this project. Okay, so go ahead and do this row and then meet me back at the end of this row. Okay, so I've reached the end here, so we're back at the beginning of this row. So as you can see, I have done it. I have done the last treble crochet right here. We're gonna skip this one right here, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to do a chain of 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the last or second last stitch from the previous chain 5. So we're just gonna grab that there, and we're going to do a slip stitch just like that. Okay, so that's how your work should look. And then we're going to start by doing a chain 5 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to turn our work so we can work backwards towards where we just came from. Okay, and then we're going to go right into the last treble crochet here, and on top of it we're going to do a treble crochet just like this, and then we're going to chain 1 and then do a treble crochet on top of the previous treble crochet, and chain 1 and do a treble crochet on top of the previous treble crochet. And as you guys see here, it's pretty much we're repeating that all around as well. And when we get back to here, we're going to do our final treble crochet here and slip stitch on top of the on the 4th chain up from the chain 5 that we did, and then chain 5 and turn your work around and continue to do that. Okay, so this is a repeat here, and you're going to do this if you're changing colors. You're going to do it for however many rows you want to have in each color, and then change the color and then repeat. And we're going to do this until we have a long, I'm going to do mine so that it goes all the way close to my ankles. So it depends on how long you want it. Maybe you don't want it that long, then you will just stop however you need to stop. But I'm going to be going all the way down, and I'm going to be alternating my colors. So I'm going to be doing the black color and then the gray color, then back to the black until I run out of my colors. And then I will come back to show you guys how it looks like when it's completed. but for now you should be able to have these lines that are more lacy in the bottom of your skirt. Okay, so continue to work your work until you get to the end, and when you have completed the length that you're looking for, then come back and we will look at how mine works, how mine looks and how yours looks, and then we can compare. Okay, all right, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and gone as far as I want to go with the mesh part of the skirt here. So as you can see, I've pretty much done these blocks here. So I have three black parts, block of color, and then I have three of these gray color as well. And I've ended it with the gray color. That's how much yarn I have remaining. So I'm not gonna go any further. It comes up to about 35 inches long, so it's quite long of a skirt. So I'm not gonna do any more from that point. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish it off here. We're gonna do our chain one as per usual, and then slip stitch on top of that here, and then we're just gonna do chain one to lock that in. And I'm going to weave these in here. Yeah, but this is pretty much how it looks like. So hopefully you guys have something similar to that. This is the band of the skirt here, the top part of it, and then it will go down, and this is where it becomes the meshy part right here. So this one just goes right at the end, like just right above your knees, a little bit higher than your knees before it becomes meshy like this, which is good because you have a solid section here that is full coverage for your body, and then it's nice and easy and breezy in the bottom like that. Okay, well, thank you so much again, you guys, for watching the video to the end as per usual, and I hope you had fun creating this one with me. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like the video, give it a big thumbs up, ask me any questions in the comment section below if you have any questions. Yeah, and besides that, see you guys in the next one, and take care. Bye.